Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the Dirty Pat Walsh channel here on YouTube with me, your host, Dirty Pat Walsh. It's Thursday, so that means it's Stuff and Things Day. So I got some stuff and things. I'm going to try to remember to tell you that are important. I got a gig this Saturday at Jethro's, as I've told you before. Going to play an hour solo and then an hour with the Cornbread Choir with John Bird, local musician, plays with Otis and the Honey Lambs, and a bunch of other stuff. He plays with I don't really know him well, but I know him through my old roommate Kelsey, and he watches my videos here sometimes, and I'm just really looking forward to playing with him. It's gonna be really cool. And we have maybe a future project in line, just the two of us, in mind, just the two of us. But yeah, so some really interesting stuff has happened this week. I was adopted as a child. I don't know. I've probably told you somewhere, but I was adopted as a child at 2 months old in 1970. And back then, you didn't, or at least I was led to believe, I don't know what the truth was, just my mom always told me, you're not supposed to know anything. Like, she told me I was adopted, but she didn't tell me, like, you're not supposed to know anything about your birth parents and all this stuff. And I just thought, it's like, okay, well, I'm adopted. I didn't think anything really of it. I said, okay, well, you're still my mom, and I have biological parents out there somewhere in the world. Okay, well, that's interesting. And as I got older, I began to find out a little more information. I found out that my mother was like 13 when she had me, maybe 14, but probably 13. So she was very young. Uh, Hence, it's not surprising I was put up for adoption. Um, but anyhow, for my birthday this year, I was given a 23andMe kit, and so I'm on it. Like you send them a sample of you spit in a little beaker, and you mail it off to them, and they extract your DNA from it and give you like I was sent this map of like all my extended family in my bloodline, and they listed 1,500 distant relatives I have. They're all like second cousins, fifth cousins, like twice removed, or but whatever. But a couple of them are close. Now I have one close blood relation that they link me to, and he lives out in Alberta. And I've messaged him and invited him to talk to me, but he's seen my message, and I don't think he's going to reply to me because he hasn't yet. So, and it's been a few days. So, but I did get in contact with a second cousin of mine named Darren Bounds. Now, the birth name, before my mother died, she gave me my original birth certificate, which is kind of golden to me. That my birth mother, wrote out. The name I was given as a child was Scott Allen Bounds. So a lot of these people on the family tree have the last name Bounds. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to go for the closest relative I have with that last name because maybe they'll have some information. And so I messaged a second cousin I have named Darren, and he messaged me back, and he's really friendly, and he sent me some information about like my our like grandparents and stuff. He sent me a photograph of it was a photograph of four children, and he there's two guys. Like I kind of like cut one guy out of the picture, and it's the thumbnail for the last fair deal gone down. That picture. Now, one of those two men in that picture, the guy on the left or the guy on the right, and there's a young woman in the middle. One of those two guys is my grandfather, and I think it's my first thought was it's the the guy on the left because he kind of looks like I do now a bit. Like he dresses in a suit and he kind of looked like me a bit. But the other guy has now I had like braces and I had teeth removed and braces, so my face structure is a little different than it would have been if I hadn't done that. My son has the exact, and my daughter have the exact same face as this guy. So I'm figuring he's my grandfather. His name's Andrew. So my grandfather Andrew, I got a picture of, and I never ever dreamt I would ever see anything as close to like. Ultimately, my goal is to find out if I have any brothers or sisters, or find out my birth parents. That's my ultimate goal. Find out information on my birth parents. And yeah, so hopefully something will pan out down the line. I'm just starting, so it's kind of it's a real blessing. You sometimes you feel all alone in the world, and then you realize, wow, I'm a nation. You know, and not me, but there's a lot. I got a big family. You know. My family that I was adopted into is always my family. That's, all this new 23andMe stuff, it's all new. It's just interesting information to me. But the family that I grew up with, the Walsh family, is the family that I call my family, and I love them, and they are my family. So this is all just information. It's cool. Um, So yeah, that's been interesting. I've had awful vertigo this past week, as I think I've mentioned a couple times. I've managed to do a couple tunes here and there, like just to put stuff up on YouTube, but practicing music has been really hard for me. It's been very hard to play the harmonica just because of like I took this fall and I banged my head and I hurt my neck, and that's why I've been having the vertigo, and playing the harmonica just exasperates it all. And, but today I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm almost back to normal. So I got high hopes. And, I'm back on it. I got to practice hard today, though, because I got this gig coming up Saturday. But yeah, anyway, so I've been dealing with that. But, I got to hang out with my kids. Uh, got to have a much needed conversation with my ex-wife that the Lord really helped me with. Praise God, you know. Um, that's a whole other story. I'm not ready to tell that whole story yet, but I'm going to tell my pastor. But yeah. Um, what am I leading up to? Oh yeah, I went to the bank yesterday, to my monthly trip to the bank, and the only other guy in the bank was my old friend Dan English. Dan is like this entity on the Peterborough art scene. Like he doesn't play in a band or nothing. He just does a lot of other stuff. I don't really even know, but like he does a little bit of acting here and there. He does a little bit of behind the scenes work and stuff. He's just a great guy. He's a great guy, and I've known him most of my time in Peterborough here. And anyway, he comes out to me just out of the blue, and he's like, "Hey, man, I hear you need a couple guitar amplifiers." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I got a couple PV practice amps at home that I need to get rid of because I don't play anything." So, and I've been thinking about all the musicians who need amplifiers, and you're the first person who came to mind because, you're always playing your pig nose, and maybe you need a real amp, and not that a pig nose isn't a real amp, but yeah, he gave me a PV Rage 158, I think it's called. It's like an upgrade on the old PV Rage. It's a great amp. Um, Pretty big for my britches. I when I played in the Diplomats, I had a big, huge, double 10-inch twin trainer amp, but I didn't carry it around. It stayed where we played. We only played really one venue, so um, But yeah, this is a bigger amp. So I don't know. I might trade it with my son for something. I'm not sure yet. Beckett, if you're listening, no promises. No promises yet. But he also gave me a PV backstage practice amp, and it's I think I can grab it. This one here, and this is a great little harp amp for sure. It's a good little simple, clean tone, overdrive tone, equalization. I gave this a whirl yesterday. It sounds great. So they both sound great through my harp and guitar. So what a blessing that was. What an absolute blessing. Right out of the blue. Um, God is good. You know. Um, yeah. So thanks, Dan, for the amps, man. That was amazing. um, what else has been going on? I want to thank all the people who've been watching my stuff and leaving me comments. Deep Entropy, thanks a lot. Prince Prodigal, thanks a lot for all your support. Um, uh, Joe Masmo, the Hermit, everybody. Sorry, I almost cussed there. I'm just grateful for all of you, and yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Thanks for watching the Dirty Pat Walsh channel. Um, I found my other iPhone. This is only good for watching YouTube on, but I can use backing tracks, and I have a video that I'm gonna clip onto this one of me playing the gospel blues vibe from the Butternote Backing Tracks site, as recommended by Jason Ritchie, who's a pretty good harmonica player. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna tack that on. So I hope you enjoy it. Um, and I'll see you next time on Stuff and Things or whatever else. All right. God bless you. Be well. Stay free always.